Rescue 8, Truck 6, Truck 3, Battalion 3, and the on-call inspector. 2303 West 46th Street, number 208.
This is Division Chief Steve Fessler, and on this episode of Sioux Falls Fire, we take a look at our new fire safety house. We go out to the training center and take a look at the big rig rescue, and at that we show you how we raise a garbage truck with only air, and we take one final look at our new heavy rescue. Kind of do a quick walk around on it. We know you've seen it here in the past episodes being built, and this is kind of a final rundown on it. So that's all next on this episode of Sioux Falls Fire. All right, I'm here with Battalion Chief Brian Christiansen, and we've been out at one of the local schools here in the Sioux Falls School District, and he's been teaching the Stop the Bleed. Can you explain a little bit more of what that is?
Sure. Stop the Bleed is a nationwide program, and the aim is to teach the layperson how to recognize what would be life-threatening bleeding and then respond appropriately to it.
Okay. And how long of a class is this that you're teaching these administrators?
Sure. So the class that we're teaching focuses a lot on tourniquet use as well as gauze and direct pressure. We talk about some of the wounding patterns that we may see, and the class itself takes anywhere from 45 minutes to 1 hour typically.
So how many schools have you went into this year?
Right, so by the time we're done with this training, we'll have gone to about 36 different facilities and trained roughly 200 people in the school district here.
Well, that's good. You know, it's a tough thing to talk about, but with this day and age, the different things that are happening with the shootings, it's something that our school people need to know about.
Yeah, absolutely. These are very simple techniques. Again, they are intended for the layperson to be able to apply effectively. And yes, we have recent unfortunate examples just this year, just days ago, and certainly in the past to draw from for the importance of this training and teaching the layperson.
But like you said, it's a national thing that's going on. Who's that through?
So the American College of Surgeons, the Hartford Consensus, there's a few other organizations out there that I unfortunately am forgetting, but this was really brought on by violent events over the course of many, many years, really starting in Columbine and then carrying on from there. We've taken a different look as EMS providers at how we can intervene at an earlier time to have a positive outcome for some of the victims of these unfortunate events.
It's just another one of those ways that we're able to reach out to our community and help educate them on the different situations that they might come across.
Absolutely. This is another example of the EMS system in Sioux Falls, certainly being on the cutting edge and working together with multiple partnerships to really stay on that leading edge of providing the best EMS care that we can for all of our patients.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm here with firefighter Nick Kervink, and we're about, what'd you say, 80-some feet above the stage floor at the pavilion.
Yes, sir.
Doing some rope rescue training. Tell us a little bit about what you have going on. What are you working through?
Well, at this point in my career, I'm trying to get certified to be an instructor so that I can help instruct rope operations throughout the department and help fill out with our USAR program and become an asset that way.
So you're taking some extra classes going on right now, too, that you're going to be going out of state for? Is
Yes,
that correct?
sir. Yep.
Where are you heading for that?
Well, first I have to do a tower class in Rapid City,
Okay.
and then I head to California for a instructor class for this subject.
Okay. And so here at the pavilion today, the training that you guys are working on, you're doing single rescue, team rescue. What all are you guys doing here?
So what we're trying to mimic here is somebody getting stuck on a line here, maybe one of the workers here messing with the lighting or whatever, and they get hung up on their line. So we have to come from above and get them onto our line and then get them to the ground safely.
And what's that called?
It's called a pick-off.
A pick-off. And kind of explain what all you do during that.
So we'll get our rigging and everything set up separate from what they have theirs on and make our own belay line and main line. And we'll go down to the patient, we'll hook into their harness or whatever they're wearing. Maybe we might have to make a harness for them if theirs isn't kosher. So we hook into them with two different lines, a belay line and a main line, and we just ride that main line all the way down. Or we might have to pull us both back up.
Okay, and
depending
when
on the
I
situation.
saw you inverted on that to work on them, so you get to hang upside down, do a little extra stuff.
Yep, because I have to gain that height to be
Mm-hmm.
able to pick him off of his rope that he's on or
To
whatever
loosen
he's
up
on
the
to
line?
loosen it up. Yep,
Okay.
to get him off of it, so that I can get him onto our line. So yeah, I have to stay above him and then use mechanical advantage or whatever to get him off his line and put him
Okay.
onto mine.
So within Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, roughly how many members do we have that are certified in USAR with the high angle rescue and that type of stuff?
Currently, we have 30 to 40 that are certified to actually be active USAR with
And-
ropes and all disciplines.
And you're always continually training on this to be proficient at it?
Yep. We have quarterly drills and then we'll train in station with each other to make sure we're staying efficient.
All right, well, thank you very much, Nick.
You bet.
Yeah, I'm firefighter Garrett Sharp. I'm currently on Rescue 8. This week we're out here doing our big rig rescue class. We've been out here for 3 days now. Essentially what we're working on is if we come across an accident involving a cement truck, a semi-trailer, the garbage truck that you see behind me right now, we need to gain an understanding as to how to stabilize those large vehicles. That's the first thing is we got to stabilize them before we're able to even extricate. So we got to become more familiar with their center of gravity, and then like what we found out on our last scenario right there is just communication is the biggest thing, and we struggle with that in fire service overall, but that's usually the number one deal. So this is a little different because, as I mentioned before, you're dealing with center of gravities and heavier loads is probably the biggest thing. The load capacity of our equipment compared to the loads of our extrication. So on this garbage truck behind me, they say they're rated for 80,000 pounds, but sometimes they're coming through with close to 90,000 pounds. Well, we need to be aware of that, making sure our equipment is able to handle that and that we're able to work around it safely. And then we can extricate afterwards. Because once we get that stabilized, then yeah, we can treat it as a normal extrication essentially. So in the USAR realm, yeah, we deal with the big rig rescue. We're kind of a jack of all trades and trying to be master of some at least. We got guys who are specialized in structural collapse, so there are structural specialists. We have our trench collapse guys. We have our swiftwater rescue, our ropes guys, our confined space. So I mean, basically anything that involves a specialized rescue is where we're supposed to be called in. So.
Sioux Falls Fire Rescue crews are often seen at local grocery stores picking up their meal prep items for the day. Have you ever wondered why they're there in a big truck with a crew of 4? We are on duty for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and always ready to serve our community. In addition to getting groceries, we are doing what we call community risk reduction. This is taking the opportunity to interact with the community we serve to proactively reduce risk which may lead to emergency situations. We do this through such things as child protective seat checks, smoke and seal alarm giveaway signups, coloring books, stickers, and truck tours for kids and adults, along with providing the general knowledge that your neighborhood fire station's crew is ready to serve you and your neighbors at a moment's notice, no matter what time of day it is. We try to accomplish these tasks when we're out doing other things such as checking on road construction in our territories, returning from an emergency call we just finished, or while we're going to or returning from a training session to keep our skills and abilities up to the standards our community expects and deserves. So the next time you see us at your local neighborhood grocery store, stop and say hi. We'd love to answer any questions you might have.
One of the things that we do here in fire prevention is we go to each school in town and take our fire safety house. And today I have Sean with me. He's one of the fire inspectors for the city. And we're just going to kind of go through the smokehouse, see what it's all about, and have some few questions for you, Sean. So welcome to the show.
All right, thank you.
So we're standing inside the house right now. Just kind of explain the fire safety house to us.
Our new fire safety house, we have 2 rooms in it. We usually bring the kids in the front room here where we have the bleacher seating. We have a kitchenette. We can talk about some additional kitchen fire safety there. And then we have a TV monitor where they can sit on the bleachers, watch a short video that it kind of explains what they're going to be doing in here today. And just it's a good review to watch that right before we actually take them into our back room, which is a makeshift bedroom. There's a bed, there's a door, and a window just like their home bedroom. and then they can practice escaping. The scenario is middle of the night, smoke alarm wakes you up, how to get out of the house safely.
Okay. So you said when the smoke alarm goes off. So what are you teaching these kids to do when their smoke alarm does go off? So they're laying on the bed, and what's their next steps?
Yep. We teach them, as soon as that smoke alarm goes off, we teach them how that smoke alarm goes off early and gives them plenty of time to get out as long as they don't ignore it. So that's the first thing we tell them, don't ignore it. Get to the floor, get low, because all the heat and smoke is going to be up at the ceiling. So just like firefighters do when they go in to fight a house fire, we crawl and get low under that smoke and heat. You can see better. So we teach them to get low, and then we want to check the two ways out. We check the door first, because if that is clear, that's going to be the quickest way out. So we check that, and if we can't get out that way, then we teach them to go out the window as kind of a backup plan.
Okay. And what's the steps to check the door?
What I would do on a door, you crawl up to it, and we teach them to feel the door. We want to feel it low. We want to reach up, feel it high. And if the door's hot, we teach them to leave it shut and go out the window. Now, if that door isn't hot, let's say it's cool to touch, we teach them to crack that door open and peek down the hallway. And if it's clear, there's no smoke, that's probably the safest, the quickest way out of the house. But, if they see smoke or they crack that door open and some heat comes in, they feel the heat, we teach them to shut and latch that door and then go out the window. Okay.
Now, Sean, you mentioned earlier that this is our new fire safety house. How long have we had a fire safety house in town?
Quite a few years. I know I started back in '94, and we had one way back then. Literally tens of thousands of kids have gone through this house in the third graders. And, we kind of have our school program set up where we talk about this in second grade, and then we practice it in our fire safety house in third grade.
So they just keep building on it every year, and then next year they'll build on from the safety house.
You bet.
Okay. All right, Sean. Well, obviously the fire safety house is a valuable piece to the city and to the community for the kids to all go through. So I thank you for your time today, and I'll let you get back to the kids.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm here with Division Chief Jay Titus. He's our Operations Division Chief, and we're at an exercise that we're doing out on the airport grounds for a mass casualty incident. Multiple agencies. Give us a little story on what's all going on out here.
Basically they're simulating that an aircraft went down with approximately 160 souls on board. And so there was a fire component in this exercise on how they would deal with the aircraft fire itself, and then also exercising our mass casualty response capability.
Okay, so a lot of what our individuals were doing was the triage and treatment areas of this situation, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. So out on the airport grounds, the South Dakota Air National Guard Fire Department would be in charge of the incident. And typically they do more of the fire response with the aircraft, and then they just assign us wherever we're needed. In most cases, that would be the medical group.
The medical group, okay. And when we're doing triage, what are our people looking for?
Our objectives are to rapidly assess patients based on their medical conditions, to actually rate them on severity, and then get them to a treatment area and transport it out based on the severity of their injuries.
Okay, so it's a lot of just going into the debris field, I guess you could say, finding the patients, seeing which condition they're in, if they're walking wounded or need more medical attention, and moving them on.
Right. Yep. So you'll have immediate delayed, and then you're walking wounded.
Okay.
And so they'll just put ribbons on them. They're based on colors, based on their condition.
Okay.
Then they get to the treatment area where they're actually triaged again and tagged at that time for transport.
So part of an exercise like this, we have quite a few different multiple agencies involved. Who are some of those agencies we have out here?
Yeah, so of course you have the South Dakota Air National Guard, not just their fire response, but the base response. Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, patient care logistics, transport.
Yep.
And then also you would have the FAA would be involved. The airport authority would be out here because it affects the whole airport. Trying to think of who else might be out here. Of course, Sioux Falls Police and Minnehaha County Emergency Management.
Highway Patrol.
Highway Patrol.
Pretty much any one of the
Lots
agencies.
Lots
that-
of resources.
Yep.
You bet, Steve.
Well, it's a great thing for us all just to work together and get into the coordination of an event like this.
Yeah, the benefit of this is not just the actual exercise itself on what we're doing, but seeing how the agencies interact with each other.
Yep.
Because on a real incident, from your experience, we'd rather do it in an exercise than on the real deal
Yep.
for the first time.
So after the exercise is complete, we'll all get back together, do a good debriefing on it, discuss what went good, what went bad, and all that type of stuff, correct?
Correct.
All right. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, here today we're back with Phil Paskowitz again. He's been on previous episodes with us, and we're looking at the new heavy rescue. It's the truck that we've been watching since they started building it up at Rosenbauer, and we're putting stuff on it, getting it ready to go into service. So let's do a quick walk around, Phil.
All right. Like Chief Fessler said, we're slowly getting our gear on. We still have some gear on order that's coming in. But just starting in the back seat where the firefighters ride, a little bit different than our previous rescue trucks. We're all forward facing now instead of rear facing. We do have quite a bit more room in this cab, which is nice for the firefighters in back. And then also a new concept for us on the rescue companies is the clean cab concept, which is removing anything that goes into structure fires out of the cabs, putting them in the box section of the truck, trying to reduce the carcinogen exposure to the firefighters on each shift day. Working our way down, similar to a lot of our ladder trucks, the pre-connect setup, we have our 2 3/4 with our 2.5 as well. Then our pump panel. Like I explained, we now keep our SCBAs outside of the cab, so now they are in a compartment. This is something that with the truck going into service soon, we're still working on. The idea that we would like to see is that if I get off the truck ready for a fire, I can grab my SCBA and I can also grab my tools that are with the gear. So everything's right here. We're not going to multiple compartments. Just working on that efficiency.
So you can grab your axe and your Halligan or whatever else
Yep.
you're
So
looking for.
if I'm normally on the other side, but I can get off. Everything that I use on a fire is right here for me. And it's quick, and then we're close to the pump panel, so if I'm the one pulling the hand line, everything's really close, relocated.
Yep. Efficient.
Yep, that's the plan. Different hand tools, sledgehammers, axes, some tools for cutting bolts.
How do these slide out?
They're just pull-outs, yep.
Okay.
So then we also have our little giant ladder. So again, kind of figuring out what works best, what we like, what we don't like, getting things changed so they works best for us.
It's all a work in progress.
Yeah,
right now.
so,
Yep.
and given the latitude that we can, as the 3 different shifts, is kind of change things so it suits us how we operate a little bit better,
Okay.
which is really good for us. We have our high-rise packs here, same as all of the other trucks. Our different appliances, nozzles.
Those trays pull out and down
Yep,
then also?
same as those there. These pull out, and then that one also pulls down. That's just a shovel. There's a master stream up there, and then some spill drive for our vehicle accidents.
Okay.
Working down, we have our cribbing and step chocks. We have all 4x4 cribbing now. We did have 4x6 on the old rescues, but just for space.
Typically, you use this for what?
Vehicle stabilization, cribbing for if we're doing any airbag lifting. It's just a way for us to, as we're essentially stabilizing a load, whether it's a lift or just even a stationary object that we need to stabilize. We use cribbing and then also our step chocks, and we have actually 3 layers of that up top. Working down here, we have struts. So our old rescues only had 2 struts on them. We have a large array of different struts. This compartment's still a work in progress. We're getting some more equipment in. We're getting the hydrofusion struts will allow us to lift with the struts.
Okay.
So still working on this one, getting everything how we'd like it. We're going to add some more in some different trays.
They all pull out?
And same as those, they'll all pull out. We have our different sizes, whether they're extensions or they're actually the struts that are adjustable. We have our gray struts and also our golds.
Okay.
And then in here we have our longer ones, so our 6 foot to 10 foots, and then 8 foot to 12 foot for that extend.
Okay. And typically with the struts, they're used in
whether it's trench rescue, stabilizing structures, so building collapses, cars into buildings, we frequently use them.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
That type of stuff.
Yeah. This back here, this is one that we're working on for trench and structural collapse. So we have all of our trench panels here. We have 6. So we'll be able to build a 3-panel box using the 6 panels. And then we'll have all of our room for our whalers and different lumber back here. So then if we need additional cribbing, we can cut our own.
Okay.
Down on the bottom, we have our winch. We have multiple attachment points around the truck for the winch to connect to. We have our hydrant bag, so when we catch a hydrant, we have everything we need. In the back, there's a couple hammer drills.
Just typically hook the winch up to a receiver.
Yeah, we have
like
the multiple receiver connection points around the truck. This side, we have all of our extrication equipment in this compartment. We carry both the hydraulics and then also the hydraulic hearse set.
How's this one pull out?
And then these have a twist lever here and here. And then this is actually, if you want to just pull that from me.
Yep.
And then this can actually spin to get the desired tool that we
Oh,
need.
nice.
So, and then locks in place. And then we have our hoses up top. There's some stands for some lights. This is another one. We have a couple tools we're still working on. Just getting it right how we want it.
And these are all portable. No, I mean, you're not attached
Yep,
to
this side is the ones we talked about in the previous episode I was in, where we're just the hydraulics, where battery powered, not attached to hoses. This side, we have the ones that have the hoses. So now a little bit more limited. We have to bring a pump with us to give us the hydraulic pressure we need to do our extrication.
Okay.
In this compartment, we have 4 different saws. We have 2 chainsaws, so our cutter's edge for roof ventilation, and then we have a saw with a normal wood blade on it, and then 2 different K12s. So we have our composite blade and then also our concrete steel blade there. Up top is our kits just for any maintenance or on the fly work we have to do them, and then also a circular saw.
Okay.
This is another compartment that we are still getting equipment in on. We have some of our airbags in. We still have some in our other trailer that we're fitting on. And we're going to have all brand new airbags for this. So we have our different airbag slots. This tray pulls out too, and it's going to have all of our boxes for our controls, our air hoses. We have more controls here with our RDC. And you can see we have a little bit of space, so we're working with what we want to put in there as well. So another work in progress there. This one, starting at the bottom, we have our battery-powered vent fan. Our previous rescues only had the electric fan, so that'll be a nice addition for us. A little more CFS for venting out structures, whether it's a fire or our common burnt food call. We have our different Milwaukee set tools with our batteries, and then also our extrication equipment batteries are here. So while the truck's plugged in or if the generator's running, things are being charged constantly.
Okay.
Some lights up top. We have our bandsaw, a battery-powered bandsaw. And then similar to the other side, we have our SCBAs for the captain and the firefighter on this side. We kind of have some gear staged in the bottom, but again, we would like these particular compartments set up for that individual firefighter. So on their day, they're able to efficiently get their job done. And then our other side of our pump panel, and with our cross lays there.
All right, now we're up on the top side of the truck. Phil, what do we got up here?
So working over on the right side, working our way down. This compartment, we have some additional spill dry, salvage cover. Our sked is in there, as well as our LSPs for rope confined space, and then our low profile strainer for drafting. All of our rope equipment will be in this one. So we have our rope bags stacked here first. And the bottom, we have some of the equipment we don't use as often. So like tower bags, we have an additional rigging bag, our tear adapters, which is our adjustable tripod. We have our Stokes basket, and then all of our personal bags. So each person on this truck has their harness and all their gear that they would need for rope or confined space incident. And then working down here, we have some additional hammer drills. We have a battery or an electric breaker. So, and then just confined or structural collapse type stuff here. And then as well as the other side will have more additional structural collapse equipment as we move it into place. Then up towards the cab, we have our command light, so it lights up the scene at night for us. And then also we have a crane that allows us to bring down, what we'll have below the crane is a motor and also a Zodiac boat that'll be folded up, and then underneath this red tarp that we'll have it all pre-rigged, and then I can, with this remote, I can move the crane and bring the boat down from up top or in a remote area if I'm down below.
So we're back to the front of the truck, and one last compartment is this little pre-connect here. And what would we use this for?
So this one here we'll use a lot of times for our dumpster fires or car fires. It's pre-plumbed with foam if we need that capability as well.
Okay. So this apparatus, the heavy rescue, is it's one of our frontline apparatus.
Yep.
People will see it out on the road.
Yep.
You'll be using it for primarily which calls on a daily basis?
Same as their other rescues. So we'll be going to vehicle accidents, we'll be going to fires, car fires, any technical rescue. So now we've taken what we used to pull as a trailer to technical rescue calls. Now we have that all on one truck, so we can respond a lot faster than trying to hook up a trailer, pulling a big trailer to the scene. We're set to go. We can get out of the station in that minute.
All right. Thanks, Phil. And like I said, this is the latest in our apparatus that we have that we're getting into service and out on the streets, so look for it out there, you'll see it. Thank you for watching this episode of Sioux Falls Fire. If you have any questions or comments, click the link below or go to siouxfalls.org/fire.